Episodes of the Green Corn Rebellion Show are sponsored by Oklahoma Progress Now. Oklahoma Progress Now is a 501c4 organization focused on building progressive power in Oklahoma. Their primary efforts are on developing progressive content for a 21st century audience, coalition, and capacity building across progressive organizations and causes, and working to see elected leaders who are more responsive to their constituents and the needs of the many. Areas of focus include progressive messaging and communications, coalition building and resource sharing, and focused progressive policy goals. You can check out their Twitch live streams, and they go live on Facebook at noon, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Please support this organization. It's a really great organization. It's just getting started here in Oklahoma. Thank you. Now enjoy the rest of the video. So, hello. This is the Green Corn Rebellion Show. I'm Gregory Harden II, and today I am here with Christina how do you say it again?
Chicoraske.
Chicoraske, who is running for, she's the Democratic candidate for Oklahoma County Clerk here in the state of Oklahoma, in Oklahoma County. How are you doing today?
You know, I'm making it. It's Wednesday, right? we made it.
It might be Wednesday. I'm not sure yet. It is. Yeah. So, first here is, where are you from and where'd you grow up? Could you tell me a little bit about your upbringing?
Yeah, well, I am originally from a small town in Oklahoma called Blackburn. It's home to 52 people, maybe 51 now that I no longer live there. And that's where my parents still live, along with my adult sibling. My sister is an adult with additional needs, so she lives full-time with my family. And they have a cow-calf operation, a ranch, and my dad's retired, and that's what they do. So I grew up in a small town in Pawnee County. There's only 2 high schools, so you choose to either go to Pawnee High School or Cleveland High School, and I went to Cleveland High School because that's where my parents went, and that's where my grandfather was the ag teacher, and so that's where I went to school. And then I came to Oklahoma City in 2003 as a freshman at Oklahoma City University, and I haven't left. I just stayed. I fell in love with the city, and really when I was graduating undergraduate was kind of when I guess they're calling the Oklahoma City Renaissance really started taking off. You know, the MAPS 3 vote was coming up, and there was a lot of momentum in Oklahoma City. And there still is, but I mean, especially at that time where a lot of my friends were graduating and going to Broadway or getting jobs on cruises, or, you know, OC's performing arts school. So a lot of friends like go to the coast. And I stayed in Oklahoma City, and I haven't regretted that a second. I love it so much.
That's cool. I'm still blown away by the idea that a county only has 2 high schools.
I know.
That's insane. So what all have you done in your life after graduation until now?
Well, so I stayed at Oklahoma City University for about 6 years. I worked, I was the assistant director of undergraduate admissions there. So I helped recruit new students. I like to think that I helped recruit a lot of little baby Christinas to come to OCU. And then I got recruited to apply for the position. So I was volunteering at the time with Uptown 23rd, and they said, we really want you to chair this committee. And I said, oh my goodness, I'm doing all these other things at work. I started grad school. I just don't have time to, chair a committee. I knew I couldn't do a good enough job. And they're like, oh, well, we're about to post this job. You should apply for the job. And then you'll have plenty of time to do those things. So I went ahead and applied for the job. And so I was program director and then executive director of Uptown 23rd. So I was like their first kind of big time employee that they had. And I did that for a couple of years. I got my master's degree in the meantime with a master's in public administration. And then I was asked to go to Norman. I was sought after to be an executive director for an activity center for adults with additional needs. Their founder was retiring, and they had never really had anyone with nonprofit experience come in. So I came in and built their employee manual and their development plan and their kind of their processes went paperless, just kind of updating a lot of things and bringing them to the current time. And then had the opportunity to work at the city of Oklahoma City. So I currently am a water conservationist with the city of Oklahoma City. In my particular role, I do all of our public outreach and education and help develop our affordability plan. So, which right now is not that exciting since there's not much public outreach and education happening in person. But typically I host a lot of workshops, and I work with master gardeners and school-age children as well to kind of talk to them about the role of water conservation in Oklahoma, and then kind of the global look at the climate crisis and things that we can do today to save water today so we can make sure that we have water in 50 years. Water.
All right. So what made you want to run for this seat to be county clerk?
So I have always been kind of a very process-minded person. I love administrative tasks. A lot of people cannot say that. I know I've been laughed out of a room when I said that I fell in love with municipal government because of the permitting process with the city of Oklahoma City. I just think there's so many ways that I am a lifelong learner and a lifelong leader. And I mean, I was student council president in high school and went on to be a leader at OCU. And, that's just kind of part of who I am. That's a thread of who I am. And the idea that you can take administrative tasks like the clerk's office that is responsible for making sure that all information from the county and to the county is as open and transparent and accessible as possible, and being able to use that role, whether on the budget board or in the clerk's office, to literally work to make our neighbors' lives a little bit better and brighter every day. And just because it seems administrative doesn't mean that it doesn't have a huge impact. We have seen lately how crucial it is to have young progressive voices around that horseshoe, right? With the CARES Act funding and some other issues like public comment that seemed to disappear off the agenda, and then it had to be fought to be brought back. And those are types of things. I mean, if I had been on that budget board, that vote would have looked a lot different. The public comment would not have been removed, right? I would have been over backwards to make sure that the county government was up to the task of continuing public meetings during a public health crisis. And we've seen that time and time again, that the current status quo that we have in this state, in our city, county, state, it goes up, right? Upriver. It's just not meeting people where we need to be met. And so I was asked multiple times about the position and had to be like, what does a county clerk do? I realize I have a master's in public administration, but could you break that down for me, please? And once I found out that it was really, someone that, and I did a live yesterday with Carrie Bloomer, and I may eat these words one day, but I said that I feel like the county clerk is a position that needs to be neither seen nor heard. The processes need to move forward. The requests for public information need to come in and be responded to. And the business of the county needs to carry on, right? And it shouldn't be dependent on if my picture is on the website or not, right? That should be a position that people can trust, that people know that the information coming out of that office is accurate, it's up to date, it's accessible. If I'm trying to get older information, say I want a land title from prior to when the city of Oklahoma City was established, so 1879, the county is going to have those records. And so how quickly is the turnaround on those records, right? I mean, the request for that type of record may not be very often, but we have to ensure that the information that is being held at the county level is readily available no matter what type of information is. So I really wanted to run for the position because it seemed more like a job. It seemed like a job that I'm well qualified to apply and interview for. And, I'd always seen myself as someone who was going to run for a municipal office. I just assumed that it was going to be city council, and it was part of my retirement plan because Lord knows you can't make any money doing it. So, it seemed like a very good fit for the type of person I am, the type of leader that I am, and the joy that I get from organizing things, processes, and people. So I'm pretty excited about it.
Okay. Yeah, the next question I was going to ask you is, what exactly does a county clerk do? And could you explain the details of that?
Yeah. So I'll break that down a little bit more. I'd say probably the three big things that a county clerk does is the first, and we talked about it already, but one of 8 voting county electeds on that budget board. So an equal voice to the county commissioners, to the county treasurer, to the assessor, all of those electeds around that horseshoe, looking at how the county funds are being spent. So that's all of our property tax dollars and our ad valorem taxes that go to the county. And I have to remind people that, maybe this is just a little part of my roots, but Oklahoma County is not just the city of Oklahoma City. Oklahoma County also has a smaller municipalities, communities within the county that really rely on the county to help them with their schools fundings, with their roads being paved. Oftentimes the county is the public works department. With senior programs, with small business programs, with planning, with regional planning, regional transit, all of those things. Our smaller communities really rely on the county for a lot of that work. And so being 1/8 of that horseshoe, as someone I love Oklahoma City, and that is where I live. But I also have 18 years of my life that grew up on a cattle ranch between 2 pecan groves. So I really understand, that's the life that my parents live, and that's the life my husband and I will live one day when we have to take over the ranch. But it's something to be said about people that live in smaller communities. They know each other better. They rely on each other more. And, I think that the county is such a big piece of that. So that's budget board, big one. Second is the records, the maintenance of the records. So, big thing is if you and I go onto the county website right now, we have to, first of all, we have to find what we're looking for, which is kind of a pain in the butt. The website itself is not responsive. It's not accessible in different languages. It's not very accessible if you have any type of additional need, like a visual impairment or anything like that. Second, the clerk's office is responsible for making sure that all the agendas are posted. So any agendas for upcoming meetings, that they're posted, they're accurate. Any documents that go along with those agendas, sometimes those documents could include contracts, hundreds of pages of contracts and payouts and, legal terms and photos and plans and everything that you can think of that's part of those county public meetings are attached to that agenda. And then you have clerks that are responsible for then taking the minutes at every meeting and then posting the minutes afterwards, along with any video content or anything like that. So, and right now the video content at the county, it's not accessible. It doesn't have any transcripts or anything part of that. So if you were also hearing impaired, you would have a very difficult time accessing that information. Or if you just wanted to watch the meeting without sound, right? I think we now are so used to adaptive social media where we are watching videos on Facebook or YouTube, and we, I say I don't want to speak for you, but I, as someone who does not have a hearing impairment, I'm quite spoiled with the new transcripts that they've been putting out on the web. So it's not a hard thing to do. It's not a hard update, but it needs to be more accessible, both on a disability standpoint, but then also on an actual, like, I need this item. Where can I get this item? This item was easy for me to find and understand. The third part of the clerk's job is just managing the administration of the county. So the clerk serves as the secretary to the Board of County Commissioners. And the clerk also, the clerk's office, the clerk oversees an office of clerks. And all those clerks clerk other meetings. There's lots of clerking going on. Not to be confused with the court clerk, and that's a whole nother subsect of clerks. But the clerks that sit in the meetings and take the minutes and mind the agendas and mind the time and all that kind of stuff. But the county clerk's office is also responsible for all of the payroll for all of the county employees, and also ensuring that contractors get paid in a timely manner. So making sure that money is in the bank for that check to be cut, that deadlines are met, that PSAs are honored, that MOUs are honored, and that, and if you don't know what an MOU is, I'm sorry, that was jargon and that was rude. PSA, professional services agreement, MOU, memorandum of understanding, those types of things governments have with other entities to do the work of the government that the government does not feel like they are an expert in. So anyway, so making sure that people get paid, all the people, the county employees and the contractors. So those are kind of the three big things: the budget board, the information, the county records, and overseeing the clerk's office and kind of the general administration of the county.
Okay, that's interesting.
I think so.
So what are some of your goals if you're elected as county clerk? What are some of the things you would like to do a little bit differently and stuff like that?
Yeah, so I'm always really excited to talk about this, and I don't know if you've heard me tell this story. I am in that point of the campaign where I feel like I'm saying the same things over and over again, even though I'm not talking to the same people, but it's just like you get a shtick and you stick with it. But I keep having this recurring nightmare where, have you ever worked a restaurant job or a retail job, and you have those nightmares of the things that you hated to do? Mine was when I worked retail. My recurring nightmare was that a small kid had come into the store and knocked over an entire display of t-shirts. So I had to spend a whole 8-hour shift just folding t-shirts. And I would wake up in a cold sweat because that's all I had done for 8 hours, those full t-shirts. So this is kind of along that line of, I'm currently having a dream for a job I've never had. But I show up on the first day. I'm so excited. I've been elected. I've been sworn in. I'm meeting staff. And I find out that the whole clerk's office is running on Windows Vista computers. And then when I ask them about how the records are kept, because obviously in my dreamscape, I know that Windows Vista computers are not doing the job that they should be doing in 2020. And they just point at a door down the hall, and I go to the door, I open it up, and it's just a warehouse room full of boxes full of paper, undated, just a window's open, there's a pigeon flying around, a raccoon family in the corner, and that's our county records. And I know that they've been kept better than that, but that's kind of that's my nightmare fodder. So the first thing I really want to be able to do, and we've had they just came out with it yesterday, a wonderful resident in Oklahoma and that's associated with the Tower Theater came out. They converted the county calendar to a Google Calendar, so you can now subscribe to it. So that is my dream. My dream is to create basically a transparent, open-fronted county calendar. So you can go to it. It's in calendar format. Right now, it's just a table through the website, so like an Excel document. And an actual calendar with the layout of the calendar, with all the meetings and the dates and the times, and little icons that will tell you what's associated with those meetings. So if you are visually impaired, you can see those icons. If English is not your first language, you understand the paperclip is the universal symbol for attachment, that kind of stuff. But then also, if I'm interested in the budget board that meets every Thursday or every third Thursday of the month or whatever, I can go in and hit subscribe, and I put in my personal information, and then I get notifications, either a push notification on my phone if that's how I've signed up to do it, or an email that says, hey, a new agenda has been added. Okay? Or an agenda has been updated, because that happens sometimes too, right? Those squirrely dudes over at the county, they keep changing the agendas 24 hours before the meeting, right? Because that's the closure window. And so in the 25th hour, literally, they will post a new agenda where they've either moved an agenda item up, or they've changed the language of the agenda item, or they've changed the dollar amount on those CARES Act funding on that agenda item, something like that. So that way, if I was interested in the budget board, I would get that notification that, or if a meeting has been moved, either date, time, or location. If a secondary meeting has been set, so we realize we have this budget board on a Monday, we need to schedule a special budget board on Friday, I get a notification for that special budget board, so I know to look at my calendar at noon on Friday for that special budget board meeting. So creating something that would encourage interaction. I feel like for far too long, our county government has purposely operated under the guise of being corrupt or doing county business, when at the end of the day, like, my tax dollars, county resident tax dollars, are paying for the county government. So like, that is our business too, right? The county's business is my business, it's your business, it's all of our business. So I think that making it more interactive and more transparent in how documents are being posted, when they're being posted, how meetings are being set, all of those things, very important. That's my number one thing I want to do. The number two thing I want to do is, and I don't really know if this is the role of the clerk's office, but I feel like I will take it upon myself anyway. But along with an open-faced, interactive website, county clerkdom, so you can access all your documents. They're in forms on the website instead of a PDF you have to print off and fill out and fax in or email back, like a fillable form. So that way it can be Google translated. That way it can be user friendly for any language. So along with that piece, I think we should start being more physically present in our communities. So having the digital component, right? Trying to literally close the gap on the digital divide that we are facing as a county, but then also being more physically present out into the community. So where people see what the county is doing. I think oftentimes people just have no clue what the county government is doing because they've never participated in it. For too long, so many of the current electeds have created a system that have left us disengaged and disenfranchised, to the point to where we're like, well, I don't know what they're doing up there anyway, so I can't make a difference. And I think, if anything, being in Oklahoma City, I've learned as part of the MAPS process, we as individuals are learning to find our voice and learning that it does make an impact if you call your city council person and say, this is what I would prefer you do with these funds. I would like to hear a city council person talk about refunding the police, right? Like, I would like to talk to the city council about homelessness. I would like to talk to the city council about parks and trails or a facility for mental health. And we now got to see that through the MAPS 4 process, where people literally got to sign up and show up and be heard. And I want to create an environment at the county government that creates that level of community so people feel that they can show up, sign up, and be heard, either virtually or in person. Because I feel like that level of expectation is now there at the city, which is amazing. I love it. And I want to see that at the county. So as a county clerk, I can ensure that public comment remains on the agenda. I can ensure that, if you're calling in to talk to over the meeting, over the phone or virtually through the virtual channels, that you're not left just hanging out in a waiting room for 2 hours and the meeting's over and you didn't even realize it. Kind of being a little bit more professional and customer service minded when it comes to how the county is actually interfacing with our county residents. So 2 things, the interactive website, but then also making sure that the meetings are open and accessible to all of our neighbors. And I guess that is a county clerk's thing. Like I was envisioning like us riding in parade floats or whatever, but that's not really it. It's just kind of, I think, being a trustworthy resource for information and public records. And so many of our businesses in Oklahoma County count on the county to be accurate, quick, professional, and customer service minded. So I feel like we need to take that same respect that we show businesses to residents, because they are also paying their property taxes and paying into a system that is helping all of our local schools. It's helping our rural neighbors. It's helping our pharmacy in Spencer. Like there's so many things that the county dollars can go into, and just letting people feel like they can actually have a voice and know what those programs are going to be in the future, I think is a big thing.
All right. And last question I have here is, what kind of music do you listen to?
What kind of music do I listen to? I really listen to pretty much anything. I am definitely subjective to the seasons. So like when the seasons change, I feel like my music mood changes. I'm really into, right now, what is on rotation. I'll just tell you what I'm listening to right now. I'm listening to a lot of John Mayer. I'm listening to a lot of Billie Eilish. I've been throwing it back to Regina Spektor. I am a Miley Cyrus stan. I don't know how many people can say that. I am, despite my best effort, really liking Taylor Swift's folklore album, and I'm really hating myself for it. But then I like old school, like, Dropkick Murphys and Yellow Card, and I like a lot of different music. But right now I've been like trying to bring in the cold weather with some cold weather chill, some Bon Iver, like just I'm willing it to happen. Like I want to put on a sweater so bad. So if I play this music, maybe that means that I can put on a sweater and some cozy socks. I know how you feel about nu metal, and I just can't get on board. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Well, thank you for coming on. Where can we find you on social media, and what's your campaign website?
Yeah. So I am on Twitter and Instagram at CM Chicoraske. I'm on Facebook, very begrudgingly, at facebook.com/Christina Chicoraske. And then our website is literally just www.ChristinaChicoraske.com. And that's where people can, if they're interested in volunteering, we still are doing a lot of handwritten postcards, because my mama taught me that there's nothing more than somebody would love than a handwritten note. So we are sending some handwritten postcards out still, and have lots of opportunities for that. We are almost 33 days out, and my right eye won't stop twitching. I'm just trying to get it over with. And donations are encouraged, but really we just need people to vote. We need people to show up and vote, volunteer if they can. If not my campaign, then pick another local candidate. city council races aren't happening now, but countywide, we've got 4 great Democrats running, and we've got some other progressives up the ballot, which is great. And we've got to help Carrie Bloomert out at the county and make sure that she's not the lone female, the lone progressive sitting out there just trying to bang her head against the table. So, ChristinaChicoraske.com. I'm funnier on Twitter. That's how you and I met, right? Twitter. So.
Yeah.
That's where people go for the jokes. And if you want corgi content, we do have 2 corgis. That's Instagram. You can go to Instagram for the corgi content.
All right. Good luck to you on the campaign trail for the next 33 days.
Well, it's going to be great. We're going to be fine. Local races matter the most. And I don't know if you follow Run For Something on social media channels, but they had more people sign up after last night's debate than they'd had all year long at this Run For Something website. So I think our future's in good hands. It's going to be rocky and we're going to be unsteady for a while, but I have faith that we'll be okay.
All right.
Appreciate your time.